What's going on, my friends? My name's Corrupt, and it's time to talk about Zap Miners at Town Hall 11. We're going to explain everything that you need to know about using the Zap Miners at Town Hall 11, from using lightning spells, knowing how many you need, along with that, how to create a funnel, and how to use your miners and spells. If you guys are interested in seeing more Town Hall 11 content here on the channel, make sure that you're subscribed and ringing the notification bell for more of my educational Clash of Clans content. But without further ado, let's get started. So, here's the first example, and I want you guys to really understand the basics of using the Zap Miners. First and foremost, what are your key objectives? Specifically, you want to get rid of the clan castle and really whatever's around it for the most part. If it is going to disrupt the pathing for both miners and hog riders, might not be a good idea to use a lightning spell in a certain area, but if you use the lightning spells to create pathing, and the pathing is a little bit more awkward for hog riders, then it's definitely going to be better to use miners on it. So what I would suggest that if you're going to use a hybrid, try to look for a base with less dead zones. Like you see here, these spots where there are wall tiles are usually going to be there to force hogs and other troops to split around the base. So keep in mind that they are going to be there because the defender wants to force those troops to split and make the pathing very awkward. I am going to be saying pathing a lot within this video, so bear in mind, it's a very important topic, so I want to make sure that it is in your head when we go through this entire video. But for the most part, that's what we're doing. We're using the lightning spells and getting rid of a key area. After this, we can do a short queen walk to kind of get some funneling in on one side, and if you have the siege barrack, you can use it on the other side to create a funnel. We're going to use a giant there to tank for the siege barrack as it's being deployed. That way the cannon doesn't lock onto the siege barrack itself. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to send in the miners right into here, kind of looking like the pathing there. So that's kind of the basic things that you need to understand about this. So we're going to show you guys the use of the lightning spells. The lightning spells here, you need 6 of them in order to take down the clan castle. Everything else around it, though, is basically going to get taken down by the by the lightning spells and the Quake spell. So definitely make sure that you're maxing that out. But for the most part, if you're going to go for the Eagle Artillery, bring 7. So other than that, though, everything else will go down to 6 lightning spells or less. So that's just going to be something to keep in mind. Now, what we're doing here from this one is what we're doing basically is using the king to create one particular side of the funnel. This is going to allow ourselves to kind of get our queen to walk in the right direction, and that way she does that short queen walk, takes down some of these buildings here, and makes it a nice funnel for our miners to start going in. That's exactly what we want to make sure that we're doing. And notice that we're not dealing with a clan castle, we don't need a poison. Now, you can bring a poison with this. You could always use the lightning spells on something, for instance, like the multi-infernos or something else around there. It's definitely something that you could do, and then maybe queen walk for the clan castle if it's lurable. But if not, I would definitely suggest just using the lightning spells on the clan castle. It's far better, and you don't have to worry about the clan castle at all. So just keep that in mind when you guys are doing this, but for the most part, you do want to rage up your queen, especially when she's taking a lot of heavy fire or she's going into an area of a lot of heavy fire. So you'll see that now what we're doing is we're using the siege barrack on one side to kind of create that part of the funnel, and now we're sending in our miners straight into this particular area here, and this is going to allow ourselves to get right into the base. Notice how there are some trash buildings here, for instance, like the hero altars, or the storages, or even the gold collector or elixir collector that are on the inside of the base. Since they aren't considered defensive buildings, the miners are basically going to target those buildings instead of hog riders. So hogs will kind of stay on the outside for the most part, and they're going to be forced to split, almost something like you see here. So we want to make sure that we're avoiding that. So that's definitely something to really keep in mind. And you'll see that the heal spell usage, we're trying to make sure that it's very low. That way we're able to use them over the miners in order to get a lot of value. Like for instance here, we're going into the multi-inferno and we have to use that heal in order to keep these miners alive as they move through. But for the most part, that gives you guys a really solid look into using the Zap Miners. We do have 2 more examples here for you guys, so hopefully you will watch through the entire video because we've got the best tips and tricks for you to really understand the use of this attack strategy. But nonetheless, let's give you guys a couple more examples of how you guys can use the Zap Miners at Town Hall 11. Now, in this example here, I want you guys to understand the use of a queen charge. Adding a queen charge is very basic, very simple. The only thing that I would say is try to look for an area of low DPS for you to charge into. That way you don't have to use more than 1 rage for your queen. So that's why we have a rage spell in the army composition. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to use the lightning spells specifically over the Eagle Artillery and the Clan Castle. In order to get rid of those, we need to make sure that we're placing it right in between. Now, you may have already noticed that there are a lot of storages on the inside of the base here. So if I zoom out here, you can see that there are quite a bit of storages. So this is going to force the miners and hogs to split. So this is the reason to why hybrid wouldn't really be a great option on this. I know that I probably have seen this base get hit by hybrid before, but I would say that miners are going to be a ton better because they go for all of the buildings, not just defenses. So that means that pathing like this is going to be very easy for our miners. So what we would need to do is go ahead and do a charge in specifically for this. So we're already getting rid of these buildings right here. So we're already getting rid of these. So what we're going to be doing here is continuing with the sort of queen walk or queen charge. So we want to make sure that we're charging in specifically for the multi-inferno. By doing that, we're getting rid of this entire section right here. And that means that our pathing now from the other side of the funnel, whether this be the king or siege barrack, now becomes something that looks like this when we enter into the base. Very simple. We're just creating this sort of L shape in terms of the pathing for our miners. So that's exactly what you want to try and do, what you want to make sure that you're doing for your attack. So take a look at using 7 lightning spells with the Quake in order to take down the Clan Castle and the Eagle Artillery. The main reason why we're doing this is in order to kind of create some really nice pathing for our miners, and it's just going to get us some really nice value as well, specifically for, you know, just funneling in general, because now we don't have to worry about the Clan Castle or the Eagle Artillery. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Now, taking down the queen with the lightning spells in a miner attack, sometimes it can be very beneficial because the miners will no longer lock onto her and will instead specifically just go for the defensive buildings. So that means that you're taking off 1 less priority there. So definitely something to keep in mind. But you'll see what we're going to be doing is creating the funnel for our queen. So we took out this area, we're taking out this area with the wizard and of course with the queen's help as well, and that's going to force the queen and the super wall breaker to lock onto this really long wall, which is going to allow ourselves to break it open since it considers it a compartment of some sort. So it's going to be breaking it open and getting to the defenses. So that's exactly why super wall breakers go for certain walls. And you'll see that that one was going for another defense here, and we're going to be able to open this up and get deeper and get rid of the multi-inferno. So after the queen takes out the king, she's going to go straight for the inferno. Now, what we've done already is created pathing for our miners. So you'll see that they're stepping up here and they're taking these buildings down. We have hog riders on the back end in order to kind of help with this, and you'll see that we use the king over here to help create more of a funnel, so that can help us. Now, of course, if you don't have access to the siege barrack, then I would use a slammer in his case and use the king to create the other side of the funnel. Other than that, though, I would use the siege barrack to really help you create a funnel on the other side of the base. You'll see that we already used the warn ability, and all of our free spells or all of our heal spells are gone. But using the freeze towards the back end to kind of stun the rest of the defenses towards that back end really will help the rest of the attack. So you saw how pretty easy this was, allowing our miners to kind of stay in the base. We had hog raiders there, but they definitely were there to kind of support the miners as they were working through. So hopefully this gives you guys another good variation, taking down the clan castle, taking down the eagle artillery with the lightning spells, and then also doing a queen charge to get rid of a multi-inferno and create the L-shaped pathing that this attack really needs. So hopefully this gives you guys a really good idea of that. But now let's go ahead and go into one final example to really go ahead and go over what you guys have learned within this video. Now, in this final example, we're going to recap everything that you've learned throughout this entire video. That way you're not really confused, and I bring up some key points that you really need to understand. We are going to go over a couple things that you may not have known before that is going to help you when you're doing any other attack, like for instance, a queen charge attack. So we're going to kind of break that down for you. Now, remember that when you're using this, you're going in for the clan castle, but you also want to make sure that you're looking around that clan castle for some more zap value. So for instance, getting rid of a couple expos, getting rid of a bomb tower and the clan castle, that can net you a lot of value. That can really be very, very worth it, like you see here. Using it there in order to kind of make sure that the queen gets rid of these buildings and doesn't walk on this side. Now, there's a couple things that are going on that's going to benefit you. For instance, we are using 4 balloons here. We've got 1 balloon here and 3 balloons here. We're using that in order to take down these defensive buildings. So that means as a attacker, you are creating the funnel on this particular side. And that is all that you're doing. So if a lot of buildings there are touching, and they're touching like a defense there, then that could really get you a lot of value if you're doing, or if you're using the balloons there to take down defenses on the outside. Just something to keep in mind. We also want to use the king on one side to create the funnel, maybe use an ice golem to support. You'll see that we're not dropping in the healers just yet. For one, the queen isn't taking damage, and there's an air defense there, so it's better off to use the healers later instead of using them there where they're going to get shot down by the air defense. Now, as we're charging in, we can use a super wall breaker in order to break in to get rid of a multi-inferno. Now, there's a lot going on in this example, but you can see that we're getting rid of this compartment here. So from the base design, for the most part, this is what we've gotten rid of with the lightning spells and with the queen. So this is what we're kind of looking at here. Then we're going to create the funnel on this particular side with the siege barrack. And then what we're also going to do is basically send in our miners kind of like this right into the base. Some fairly easy pathing. You may have also noticed the use of the dead zone in the core. This is definitely something that I haven't seen too much, and usually it's not going to be a very good way of defending. It's going to be you're going to be open to a lot of attacks. However, what if you put a Tesla farm in there? This is usually used to try to mess up with pathing for the balloons, especially in a Zap Lalo. So definitely keep that in mind if you're planning on using Zap Lalo. Be considerate of that, because that's really going to mess up your pathing. And it's going to mess up your balloons as well, because they're just going to be all over the place with the Tesla farm in the core. Now, in this case here, we didn't even need the warn ability. So if you don't even need the warn ability, this is absolutely wrecked. So you can see that having a dead core, even with Teslas in there, really makes it easy for the miners. Just remember that what you're looking for is you're looking for pathing that isn't good for hybrid. So there's a lot of storages, collectors, other buildings in there like altars that are not defenses that are going to allow you to create that pathing to go through. Other than that though, guys, that is going to do it for the video. Hopefully you guys learned something from this. Hopefully you guys kind of take something away from this. Make sure that you're sharing with your clanmates so that they can become better attackers here in Clash of Clans. Also make sure, guys, that you go ahead and follow me over on Twitch. That is going to be where I'm doing all my streaming. And also make sure that you guys are going ahead and subscribing to the channel, ringing the notification bell so you guys don't miss any of my educational Clash of Clans content. I know I look a little bit blurry here. Now it's not, but definitely make sure that you guys are going ahead and joining my community Discord server. The link to that is in the description below, and we also have some bases in there that you may want to use as well, so definitely make sure that you're joining it. And don't forget to go ahead and use code CorruptYT in the Clash Champ shop to save 10% off your purchase. Other than that, though, guys, that is going to do it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. Corrupt, signing out.